this is going to be a very long season for the New York Giants, because at this point, I am not sure if you bench Daniel Jones or you let him ride it out. But after that Vikings game, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be more or less the same version of Daniel Jones that we have seen in the past.
To stay upright and he tripped.
Now, it was the first game, I know, but it was very bad because he looked just like the last time I saw him in the preseason.
Trouble in the end zone, and it's intercepted.
Either way, I don't think you have anything to lose here because you clearly need another QB. At this point, it is clear that Daniel Jones is just not that guy. Right now, he has thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns since signing that $160 million deal. And Giants fans are simply fed up. He has played plenty of games, so don't get it twisted. This is a log of his last games after he signed that deal. So you can just look at that and see. It's not because he tore his ACL. He has been bad throughout. The organization chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was undoubtedly the best player and the heart and soul of that team when they gave Daniel Jones that deal. A guy who was coming off of a 1,312-yard season in 2022. Daniel Jones did have a 3,205-yard season with 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 2022. But anybody who watched those games knew Saquon was the driving force of that team. And many will argue at that time, well, you don't want to pay a injury-prone running back. And to that I say, well, you don't want to pay a subpar QB either. And now the Giants are stuck with this guy at least until the season is over. You do have Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito on the bench. Either way, it may be a change of pace that many Giants fans may actually invite. But the organization right now is set on starting Daniel Jones because they pay him all this money. Now, with that being said, though, it is not all his fault. There were plenty of times in this game against the Vikings where he was sacked, I think a total of 5 times. Sometimes he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to. But looking at this, the O-line was at least better than it has been in the past. And right now, Daniel Jones holds the ball way too long. Here's a look at the Giants O-line pass blocking production versus the Vikings. Andrew Thomas, nothing. John Runyon, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit. John Michael Schmitz, 1 pressure. Greg Van Roten, 2 quarterback hits, 2 pressures. Jermaine, 1 quarterback hit, 2 pressures. Daniel Jones was credited with allowing 3 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, and 3 pressures. And I'm not sure if these are the 3 plays where they credit Daniel Jones with the sacks, but here you go. Clean pocket, good job by your line. You can actually see the check down wide open here. And on this one, I'm not 100% sure what's going on. A man comes free, and I guess that's the way the protection is drawn up. So that's probably why the O-line wouldn't be at fault here. And these are the ones that I looked at. I assume that's what they're talking about. And I'm not a film breakdown guy by any means. I'm just a football fan who wants to start a community with other football fans. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but on this sack by Dallas Turner, shout out to Alabama, but he steps right into a sack when he had a guy wide open, and instead of taking what the defense gave him, it's another sack. So sometimes sack numbers can look bad, but sometimes it can be the QB fault. He may hold the ball too long, miss a guy, not see somebody who is open. But at that point, the offensive line may get all the blame until you run back the tape. And right here, you have pass protection schemes that are letting guys go scot-free. And I'm not sure if that's on Jones, the O-line, or if that's how it was supposed to go down. Either way, it happened the way it happened, and it didn't look good because Daniel Jones was not prepared for it. But I'm not 100% sure. If you can clarify that for me, let me know down below. But if that is not bad enough, Daniel Jones also missed wide open guys, throwing the ball behind people, at people's feet, missing guys completely, not being on the same page with his wide receivers at times. That can be a wide receiver problem, or that can be his fault. Either way, they're not on the same page. And those are things that can't be fixed even if the O-line is playing well. He could have all the time in the world to throw the ball, but if he couldn't hit concrete while standing out in the middle of the street, it's not gonna matter. Daniel Jones finished this game with 186 yards and 2 interceptions. And that got me thinking, I wonder when he's going to finally throw a touchdown pass. It may be a minute from now, who knows, but it's going to be something to watch. Maybe he can get it in the next game. Thing about it is, they basically doubled down on him being here by drafting Malik Neighbors, who I think is pretty good, but he is going to suffer if things don't change. Neighbors had 5 receptions for 66 yards. Let's just see how well the Neighbors and Jones duo is. People will soon be screaming for Drew Lock and DeVito to enter the game if they haven't already been doing so. And it was some point in time in the game the New York Giants fans just started booing. When your home crowd's booing,
it's a bad day. I'm talking about a bad day.
They added offensive lineman John Runyon Jr. and Jermaine Elemenor, who, as we saw, didn't have bad games. But other than that, who did they really add to drastically change this team? They drafted Tyler Nubin, who I think is going to contribute early. But other than him and Malik and 2 offensive linemen, who else is out there who you see is drastically going to change this team? What is the difference between this team that you see this year and the team from last year? Not a whole lot, but that is why I say the main issues with this team comes from the top. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Head coach Brian Dabol is not looking so good right now, but he will lose his job depending on how this season goes. He has already come out and said that he is backing Daniel Jones and he will be the starter going forward. So I don't know if his job security depends on how well Daniel Jones does, but GM Joe Schoen is not looking that good either because he is the one that gave Daniel Jones that contract. They just moved on from Dave Gettleman not too long ago. And arguably, Dave Gettleman had a better time there than he is having. And this contract may just cost him his job as well. And he, up until this point, hasn't done anything to impress me. His best pick may be the pick that he had this year in Malik Neighbors. And in this game against the Vikings, that was on total display because not only was Daniel Jones bad, the defense was bad, the offensive line was okay, everything else wasn't good. The running game didn't exist, and we saw all of that on full display. So in a nutshell, it's not just Daniel Jones, it's the entire team. The Vikings in just one game against the Giants look like a playoff team with no intent of rebuilding. Maybe they are better than we think, but as of right now, they're supposed to be in rebuild mode with a bridge quarterback in Sam Darnold. But let's take a look at this game so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the Giants defense came out hot at first, but that was after a quick possession by the Giants offense. The defense was ready, and they looked like they came to play some ball. My guy was dancing like he was just about to participate in the Soul Train line, but little did he know, this game will become a nightmare shortly. But before the nightmare would ensue, the Giants defense would get a fumble and put this man Daniel Jones in the red zone, and many thought he would finally get the thing he searched for the most, a touchdown pass. However, they had to settle for 3. The Giants would kick a field goal, but soon after that, Sam Darnold would start to heat up. In this game, he would put on his best Baker Mayfield impression. You know, both of them boys were with the Carolina Panthers, and as soon as they left, maybe Sam Darnold cooked some up. I had to see it to believe it, but we shall see. He went 3 for 3 for 39 yards on his drive, and then Aaron Jones would cap this off with a touchdown. Aaron Jones would finish with 94 yards and that touchdown on the day. Now look at these Giants fans up here. I thought that was funny. And then we would see Malik Neighbors' first NFL catch with a pass that was not too bad by Daniel Jones. They wouldn't score in this drive, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Malik Neighbors. The next touchdown would be by the Vikings, who left my man on the island with the best wide receiver in the league. And this would be after what would be a 99-yard drive. And in this 1v1 situation, Justin Jefferson is going to win it 9 times out of 10. Way too easy of a pass for Sam Darnold to make to Justin Jefferson, who finished with 4 receptions for 59 yards and his touchdown. Not horrible defense, but that's Justin Jefferson. And if you thought that touchdown was easy, this next touchdown was even easier. The DB falls asleep. Jalen Naylor runs right past him for an easy 21-yard touchdown. Good throw by Sam Darnold, who finished the game 19 of 24, 208 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Shout out to Malik Neighbors again for this grab right here. I thought that was a good catch. And if I was a Giants fan, the majority of my season would be watching the development of Malik Neighbors, hoping and praying that his progression would limit some of my depression. And later on, the Giants would get a field goal, then proceed to get a stop. And at this point, you would think, hey, we go down and score right now, this could be a ball game. That was until Daniel Jones threw a pick 6. And now the score is 28-6. Then the fourth quarter happened.
Jones fires, picked off in the end zone.
At that point, you could confidently turn off the TV. So with all of that wrapped up, we can say that this Giants team is not that good. And that starts from the top. The GM has not been good so far. The coach has been decent, but since the pieces aren't there, he has looked bad since that 2022 season. Players do what they can, but I'm not sure if they are actually put in the best positions to succeed. At the end of the day, it's time for a real rebuild. And that starts right now. You drafted Malik Neighbors, which was the right decision instead of going after a QB. I 100% believe that. And the reason why, if you're a Giants fan, you're hoping that he progresses to be a great wide receiver is because that will make it easier for the next guy coming into that role as the quarterback. After you identify and choose the correct QB, you then focus on the defense because you already have a weapon in Malik Neighbors, and you will be able to find guys who can play alongside him them in later rounds. You're not going to beat anybody if you continue to give up easy touchdowns like that. And then you find you a star on the defensive line. You may have you a successful team. And also shout out to Will Rocker, Alabama stand up. But that's what I would do. And that's a lot easier said than done. If every team could run that recipe, they probably would. But picking and choosing the correct players to put in these positions is a lot harder said than done. But let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think you have the right coach and GM? Because I think that is the #1 issue with the Giants organization as a whole. Daniel Jones is there. He's not good, but he didn't pay himself. But let me know what you guys think about that one. Don't forget to like, comment, and also subscribe. And if you made it this far,